Is perception reality for Hillary Clinton and the scandal over her family foundation? The public weighs in. This is Special Report. Good evening. Welcome to Washington. I'm Bret Baier. The newest member of the 2016 Republican Presidential Contenders Club has plenty of experience going up against the Clintons. Former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee officially threw his hat into the ring today. But tonight, former Secretary Hillary Clinton has much more to worry about than Huckabee or any wannabes. Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry on growing reaction and perhaps concern about Clinton cash.
As the book Clinton Cash today finally hit bookstores after weeks of hype, Hillary Clinton spent another day not facing the music about the substance of the allegations against the Clinton Foundation. And after letting her husband, former President Bill Clinton, take the heat, a top Clinton campaign official today appeared to throw him under the bus amid a backlash for declaring he still needs to rake in $500,000 a speech in order to pay the bills.
That's President Clinton, and that's, we are focused on her and what she's doing here and what's going on with her.
Except it's difficult for the candidate to separate herself from the former president's activities and the foundation. So her campaign today released a video in which Press Secretary Brian Fallon tried to push back on the new book.
That's just dead wrong.
The problem for the candidate is the public appears to believe just the opposite. With a new Wall Street Journal NBC News poll finding, the share of people with a negative view of Clinton has shot up 6 points, from 36% to 42% in just a month, while only a quarter of registered voters say they consider Clinton honest and straightforward, amid a new Republican push to capitalize on her woes.
There is not an inherent conflict of interest in any of my husband's work at all.
Clinton Foundation failed to disclose 1,100 foreign donors.
More damaging is Democrats are joining the push for Clinton to directly answer questions from the press. As she arrived today in Nevada for campaign events, a former spokesman for that state's senior senator, Harry Reid, wrote a Wall Street Journal op-ed. Democrat Jim Manley, writing of the former president's interview with NBC, quote, "It's not enough to say that the Clinton Foundation hasn't done anything knowingly inappropriate. The faster that Mr. Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and her presidential campaign realize that, the better off they will be." Clinton is holding a roundtable with illegal immigrants and calling for a path to citizenship as she targets the votes of the Las Vegas Strip's largely Hispanic workforce. She has more cautiously supported that in the past, so this is another shift to the left from where she stood in the 2008 campaign. As the Democratic National Committee revealed, they will sanction only 6 debates starting this fall, giving Clinton's potential challengers very few chances to confront her. Clinton tweeting today, quote, "While GOP debates the same failed policies, Democrats will debate how to help families get ahead. Looking forward to a real conversation." The Wall Street Journal poll also had good news for Clinton. 76% of Democrats say they view her favorably, better party loyalty than any Republican candidate. That plus the very few debates means, despite the ethical questions, Clinton is still very likely going to be the Democratic nominee. Brett?
Ed Henry in New York. Ed, thank you. Some reaction tonight to Bill Clinton's promise to keep giving big money speeches to pay the bills, in his words, and his claim that he has taken, quote, almost no capital gains in 15 years. The Washington Post reports Mr. Clinton gave 542 speeches between 2001 and 2013, making $105 million. Clinton tax returns indicate Bill and Hillary made nearly $400,000 in capital gains between 2000 and 2006. And on her 2007 financial disclosure form, Hillary Clinton listed capital gains income totaling between $2 million and $7.5 million. Now to Mike Huckabee 2.0. The preacher turned politician turned talk show host who won the Iowa caucuses back in 2008 is going to give the presidential campaign another shot. Senior national correspondent John Roberts has the story tonight from Hope, Arkansas.
I am a candidate for President of the United States of America.
It was probably the most elaborate announcement to date. A full theater production, complete with singer Tony Orlando. A clear signal from former Arkansas Governor Mike Huckabee that he's in it to win it and willing to work hard for it.
You know, if I didn't think I had a shot and didn't think I could take it all the way home to the White House, I would never have done this. I had a good gig going.
A new Wall Street Journal poll shows Huckabee has a lot of work to do between now and the first primaries, ranking 8th out of 10 Republican candidates with just 5% support. And there is far more competition than his first run, with Cruz, Walker, Perry, and Santorum all vying for the same social conservatives that propelled Huckabee to victory in Iowa and 7 other states in 2008.
It's going to be tough competition. I think the key is he's got to come out strong in Iowa. I think Iowa is the ball game for him in terms of keeping his candidacy going.
Huckabee himself has said he needs to broaden his base beyond social conservatives if he hopes to win. But economic conservatives are already taking aim at him.
Why do conservatives oppose Mike Huckabee?
The Club for Growth Action PAC launching an ad campaign in Iowa and South Carolina highlighting his record of raising taxes as Arkansas governor.
Ready for Huckabee?
It's in Iowa and South Carolina that Huckabee could really shake up the race. The latest Real Clear Politics average has him running 4th in both states. The biggest problem he faces in such a crowded field, raising enough money to battle deep-pocketed opponents.
I never have been, and I'm not going to be the favorite candidate of those in the Washington to Wall Street corridor of power.
He won 8 states in 2008. Can he win 8 again? Could he win more?
I think he can win 8 again. To win more, though, he is going to have to do better with fundraising.
A couple of possible wild cards that could play in Huckabee's favor. After years on radio and television, his favorability ratings are very high. And as a veteran of Arkansas politics at a time the state was deeply blue, Huckabee can make the case, who better than him to take on a Clinton? Brett?
John Roberts, live in a place called Hope, Arkansas. John, thanks. ISIS terrorists insist they had a hand in Sunday's shootings outside a Prophet Muhammad cartoon contest in Texas. They're warning the worst is yet to come right here in America. Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge on the ISIS connection tonight.
We begin in Garland, Texas.
That's how an Islamic State news bulletin carried on one of its radio stations claimed responsibility for the attack, calling the 2 American-born shooters, Elton Simpson and Nadir Sufi, soldiers of the caliphate. The White House played down the claim.
This is still under investigation by the FBI and other members of the intelligence community to determine any ties or affiliations that these 2 individuals may have had with ISIL or other terrorist organizations around the world. So it's too early to say at this point.
But the social media traffic suggests there was contact between known ISIS Twitter handles overseas and at least one of the shooters, according to a counterterrorism source who has reviewed the data. Within minutes of the shooting, a series of tweets celebrated the men and spoke of a personal connection. "I'm going to miss how he always used to speak," one wrote. Another tweet called the shooter a man of wisdom. There's a new call for action after a half-dozen cases of ISIS recruitment of Americans, including Abdurrahman Sheikh Mohammed and Christopher Lee Cornell, were brought by the Justice Department in April.
We're going to have a hearing in the Homeland Security Committee on ISIS use of social media, their recruitment, and how our intel is gathering and how we're working with our allies to take the fight to ISIS overseas so they aren't continuing to attack us.
Some of the best forensic evidence will now come from the suspect's car that was hauled away by investigators in Texas and from their Phoenix, Arizona apartment where the FBI is doing a forensic review of their computers and phones. The mother of Nadir Sufi said she understood the officer's actions.
I don't blame the policeman that shot and killed him. He was just doing his job.
And the family of Elton Simpson emphasized in a statement today that they were also blindsided by their son's radicalization and his plan, Brett.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well, one of those Texas suspects was well known to federal authorities, but he still carried out his attack, albeit unsuccessfully. Tonight, senior foreign affairs correspondent Amy Kellogg examines just how difficult it is to keep track of suspected and potential terrorists.
France's National Assembly voted today to give its government greater powers to spy electronically on terror suspects, bypassing judges' warrants and bureaucracy. Civil libertarians and other critics decry it as another Patriot Act, France's big brother, but the bill has the support of 2/3 of the population, shaken by January's terrorist attacks that killed 17. It's clear more needs to be done. The Charlie Hebdo killers had been on police radar at one point, then dropped off. Ditto the man man who was arrested for planning to attack churches in Paris last month. Internationally, the list of those once flagged but who slipped through the cracks just grows. Marathon bomber Tamerlan Tsarnaev, London's Jihadi John, the ISIS executioner, and Texas shooter Elton Simpson. Between sleeper cells, lone wolves, and now returnees from Iraq and Syria, intelligence resources are stretched. Each suspect requires a team.
They need about 30 officers. Between the numbers of people that are physically surveilling him, 3 teams of 4 or 5, so it's already 15 people. Then you need people for the electronic surveillance. You need people to actually monitor as well the people he's in contact with.
Savvy suspects require more resources.
If that individual is trained in tradecraft and he knows how to detect surveillance, or he knows how to take multiple routes and various routes, it gets a lot more complicated, and you may have to have a lot more teams there.
And at all costs. One Australian estimate puts 24/7 surveillance at $8 million per year per suspect. Now that's on the high end, but for countries like the United States with as many as 2,000 terror investigations ongoing at any time, it's clear this is an enormous strain on budgets. Brett.
Amy Kellogg in London. Amy, thank you. Up next, why is President Obama keeping details of his new trade deal literally under lock and key? First news that some of our Fox affiliates around the country are covering tonight. Fox 29 in Philadelphia with some terrifying cell phone video of a toddler on the roof of a 3-story house. Police say the woman who lives there left her baby and a friend's child by themselves when she went next door. The 2 mothers have been charged with endangering the welfare of the children. Fox 57 in Columbia, South Carolina, where a university student has been arrested after spitting and putting window cleaner in her roommate's food. Investigators say 22-year-old Haley King was caught on cameras set up by her roommates. Okay, this is a live look at Phoenix from Fox 10. The big story there tonight, a fed-up bus driver refusing to let rowdy elementary school students off the bus.
You're not getting off the bus.
Police say parents called 911 when the driver would not let them get their kids off the bus. The driver eventually took off, leaving the parents behind. He has been placed on leave. That's tonight's live look outside the Beltway from Special Report. We'll be right back.